Welcome back, everybody, to the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. I'm Chris Witt. With me, as always, Mr. Adam Schmidt. Adam, how are you today?
So fantastic. I'm in such a good mood today. The weather's been unbelievable the last few days. We got baseball into the second week here. The NCAA tournament, the greatest sporting event of the year every year.
Without a doubt.
Just finished. We have a champion. Today is the last day of the regular season in the NBA. The playoffs start Saturday. So many exciting things in sports. We talk about it all the time. The very best time of the year in sports.
You know, we talk about it all the time about how this, because you know the tournament just ended. You're going into the Masters. Today's the par 3 deal they do, which is phenomenally phenomenal.
Yeah.
I think I just made that one up.
I think it's
so. So you know, it's a great month. It's so much fun. Just sports in general. The NBA playoffs, like you said, baseball's starting up, getting into the deeper part of the first half. Now we're a full 10, 12 games in, depending on who you're playing for. So yeah, it's the greatest time on earth.
And the weather is changing, and it's becoming a lot nicer, and you can go outside, and it's just everything about it. I'm just in a much better mood during springtime, during this time every year.
Yeah, I agree. So we have a lot of things going on, like we said. So the NCAA tournament ended. Major League Baseball, we're going to do a little Big Three. We're not sure exactly what we're going to call the MLB segment. So if you got any three topic things that you want to throw out at us, feel free to comment on any platform that you listen to, whether it's Facebook Live. If you're watching on Facebook Live, we appreciate it. We're on every Wednesday. We start right around 10:30, and then on all the other platforms, first thing in the morning on Thursday, you can listen to us. So shoot a comment. Like, subscribe, shoot a comment on what our MLB Big Three should be, because it's not going to be the Big Three. In fact, I need to stop saying that.
No, it's not going to be the Big Three, but that's all we have right now.
That's all we really have, yeah.
And we don't want to do something really easy, like 3 outs or triple play or something that's too easy.
Oh, I think that's the first time I heard triple play. I thought MLB triple play doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah, but it's just obvious. It's just kind of obvious. I feel like we can do something more creative.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So we need help from the listeners, basically. Help us get creative. Help us get this thing moving, and we'll go from there. So besides that, there's also some, the NBA playoffs. This is the last night of the NBA regular season. In fact, besides the 1 seed in the West, every other seed from 2 to 8 is up for grabs in the West. So a lot of things going on tonight. As we go through the show, we might have more and more details on that, but we're going to save that for the end so we can try to get some of those games over with, have an idea, make some predictions we think is going to happen in the playoffs, and probably the most important thing of all, the Nosebleed Sports Podcast, the best nicknames in NBA history, and we have some new results coming in, because the Final Four, is this the first round of the Final Four, or is this
we just completed the first game of the semifinals of the Final Four.
Okay, so we got 2 more weeks of this left.
Yes. So this past week, Larry Joe Bird, in regular hick from French lick fashion, just obliterated his competition, which was Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon,
Adam's favorite, the number 1 seed in the tournament.
So 71% to 29. That was a landslide. The hick from French lick / Larry Legend beat the Dream. So on to the glove versus the mailman to see who will face Larry in the championship of the Nosebleed Sports Podcast, greatest nicknames of all time NBA history tournament.
So what happened with the Twitter poll that we had?
That was only if we had a tie between.
Oh, did we end up? So somebody made another vote throughout.
The glove came from behind.
The glove came from behind
and beat Magic.
So the glove is now. The glove made it. Okay, good. So this week is the glove
versus the mailman.
The mailman. I tell you what, this is going to be a big one. This is two lower seeds that push through in this tournament. So yeah, that'll be exciting. Get on Facebook, vote, share the poll, please. The more people we have voting on this, the better. And we'll go from there. So then, in that case, let's just go straight on into basketball because my guy won.
Well, I'll tell you
national
what.
Title.
Let me stop you real quick.
All right.
Before we get there.
Oh, spoiler alert, Virginia won. Sorry.
Speaking of, Virginia did win the NCAA championship. Speaking of the nicknames, the one that I was the most excited about.
Yes.
You were trying to avoid this. I was most excited about adding in the field when we were putting it together. And the one that you were like, what? Nah, man, this dude's a joke. Vinny the Microwave Johnson.
Vinny the Microwave Johnson.
So
our bet. So we bet on who would have the best bracket between the two of us. And as usual, I am like 0 for 7 in Nosebleed Sports podcast bets. I failed to beat Adam, who not only beat me, he had me beat in the Elite Eight, and he had Virginia winning the whole thing. So it was pretty much an obliteration.
Well, so I don't know if people can see this, but Chris is, thank you for standing, is receiving his punishment now. This is you can't not see that, I guarantee, because it is 80s graphics on this T-shirt, because that's when it was originally made. This is a reproduction, but anyway, it says Vinny Johnson at the top in dark purple against a black shirt for some reason.
Yep.
Vinny wearing warm-up pants and a jersey with a microwave dial like from the 80s, where it goes off, low, medium, high, and Vinny Johnson, and it's dialed all the way to Vinny. Vinny has his left hand on his hip and his
boy's cut.
And Vinny was nice.
Boy's cut up.
And he's holding a basketball which is on fire, which is very dangerous. Be careful, Vinny. And
only the top of the ball's on fire. I feel like he's pretty safe.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's also standing like in front of a fire or some red smoke somehow or something. I don't know. Anyway, I love that T-shirt.
Vinny the Microwave.
I hope you wear it. I'm giving it back to you.
Somewhere. I'm giving it back to you.
I can't wear an extra large shirt. What
are you trying to say?
I'm saying I'm built like a 7-year-old girl. That's what I'm saying.
I will definitely get some wearing out of this shirt. There's no doubt.
Good.
I promise. Just for you, I will get.
Wear it to work
wearing.
out. Use it as a rag. I don't care. I just love seeing you in this shirt because I like that shirt. Vinny the Microwave Johnson. Also,
if you see me out on the town in my Vinny the Microwave Johnson T-shirt, take a picture of me. We'll send it to Adam. Make sure he knows that it's getting its use.
Thank you. All right. So, that, as you said, that was the result of our bet from our nosebleeds only, just you versus me, NCAA bracket pool. So Virginia, we already established Virginia won the championship. They're the champs. This was a battle of the two best defensive teams in the country, Virginia and Texas Tech. Everybody thought this was going to be a game in the 50s, including me. Not you. You took the over.
Yeah, I took the over 118. I thought as soon as I saw that thing was under 120, I was jumping on that. There's no chance that just because that they're good defensive teams doesn't mean they can't make shots. However, it was a lot of tough shots that were made.
It was
not a lot of open jumpers.
Yeah, and that's what made it such a good game, is because the defenses did not disappoint. I didn't think.
No.
The score ended up being 85-77, which is way, not only was it over, but way higher than everybody thought it was.
And it was overtime, but it was only one overtime. And
right.
And so even at the end of regulation, it was still.
Yeah,
well over. It was over the over right. over the over.
I don't know.
With about 5 minutes to go in the game. So they didn't have any trouble with that.
It was, but it was an awesome game because, like you said, so the defenses did not disappoint. They were really, really good. I'm so impressed with Virginia's defense. Just so much attention to detail, just the way they help and rotate, and their pressure on the ball, and the way they defend pick and rolls and stuff. Just, oh man. so much fun to watch them play defense, and the way Texas Tech does too. But like you said, that made it, you had to, if you're going to score, it was going to be tough. You had to make a great offensive play, and there were, especially in the second half and overtime, several really good offensive plays. Just made it such a great game because it was high-level basketball, offensively and defensively. So much fun to watch, so exciting.
Culver struggled. Their big guy struggled in the first half, missed like his first 8 shots or something like that for Texas Tech. Came back strong in the second half, really kept them in the game, hit some big shots as Virginia would creep up, and they just would not go away.
Virginia kept getting like a 9 or 10 point lead, and then Texas Tech would cut it back down to 2 or something like that.
Hit a couple threes and right back in that thing.
Right.
So much fun. And this Kyle guy, how did Mick Cronin not get this kid?
He's from Indianapolis.
He's from Indianapolis. He's a huge Cincinnati fan.
Yeah, big Bengals
loves
guy.
the Bengals. I heard Mick Cronin never even recruited this guy.
I don't get it, but congratulations to Tony Bennett for seeing it.
You ain't kidding. For seeing it and going.
Yeah, they've got several great players, man. But I don't know. It was really exciting. And speaking of Kyle Guy, there's one play specifically that a lot of people are talking about and that he was involved in at the end of the game. In overtime, there was I think it was like 1 minute 6 seconds left or so in overtime. Virginia was up 2. And they shot. I think they shot a 3.
Yep.
Long rebound because it was a tap out. But the tap out went all the way behind, into the backcourt. You got Kyle. You have Kyle Guy. You have
Moretti.
Yeah, Moretti and Virginia DeAndre. Hunter, thank you.
I got you.
Kind of all going after the ball. Well, Moretti came up with the ball.
Immediately gets fouled by Kyle Guy from behind.
He gets fouled. It was
not called, which is okay.
Not called, it was, to me, it was a foul that happens 300 times during the game and gets called 5 times.
I agree. And I have no problem with it. I agree.
And Moretti did what every player does now. You feel you get touched or hit,
and
you throw your head back. You throw your head back to try to sell it.
Blewett was amazing at
that. Well, I mean, it's an art form that everybody does now, right? So he tried that. Obviously, it did not work. At the end of games, referees are known to swallow their whistle a little bit. And not, especially at like the last play. Now this was with about 1 minute left,
right.
But still a big time in the game. So Moretti comes up with the ball. He does get hit a little bit, but controls the ball after that, and then they separate a little bit. And then DeAndre Hunter kind of meets Moretti and swipes at the ball. Ball goes out of bounds. Right. Texas Tech ball was the call.
Out of bounds. Out of bounds on Virginia was the call. So here we go. Out of bounds. Now, here comes my favorite thing in the world. I love instant replay. And I'm not, that's not even a joke. I really do kind of like instant replay. I don't like at the end of games when they look at every single play and only overturn part of them. In basketball, it gets kind of bad at the end of games. However, you want to get it right. I understand that. It kills momentum. It kills a lot of things. I don't care about that. Ball grazes off this kid's hangnail. After they slow it down and he's clearly fouled, and then this guy swipes the ball away from him and it like grazes this dude's hangnail, and all of a sudden now Texas Tech doesn't get the ball. Listen, there's a couple things that I don't like about this. One, they can go back and look at this and call it out of bounds and switch the out of bounds call, but you can't go back and say, well, but before that ball ever got hit out of bounds, he was fouled. So you can only look at certain things. I say, if you're going to stop the game and look at it, stop the game and look at it, and let's get the whole thing right. Because if that foul goes, now we're shooting free throws. Now he's shooting free throws 1-and-1 because Virginia had only had 9 fouls at the time. So that would have been their 9th foul. They had 8, I believe. So he would have been shooting 1-and-1. They were down. I think they were down 2.
Mm-hmm.
That changes this whole game because Virginia gets the ball. I don't know if they hit a three, but they made a basket and they went on a run, and they ran away with the game after that play. After the refs took 16 minutes to figure out if this dude's hangnail got touched by the ball.
It was I
he should have clipped his fingernails a little better.
I feel like you're exaggerating just a little bit.
Not really. It was great. Listen, there's 6 angles. One of them maybe it might have came off his
one
pinky.
of them I think looked like it did.
You think?
Well, I do.
You think?
All of the angles looked like it was possible. One of the angles looked like, I'm pretty sure that did. So
pretty sure. Well, because it's got to be reasonable doubt. Right. You're thinking, and you're pretty sure.
Right. And that's the thing. That's
where I'm coming from.
Is reasonable doubt is needed to overturn the call. The officials looked at it for a long time, like you said, and they felt like they saw enough to see that it hit off his hand. Now,
it didn't hit off his hand. It grazed off his pinky nail.
It rolled off probably the two or three fingers.
The edge of a pinky.
His whole hand was on the ball, and then it was hit.
Yeah, it was.
And the ball was hit, and DeAndre Hunter's hand came off of it immediately. So anything like he hit and it came off immediately, the ball was like still kind of like right under his hand, but it was moving in that direction. So.
How often does a play like this happen? Never gets stopped. I guarantee most of the time when a ball gets swiped from you, I bet that your hand was the last thing on it. But the ball's going in the direction the guy swiped it. Exactly. But I mean, it may roll off your hand. But
during those times in the middle of the game, they're not going to review every single call.
I know.
Like
I don't want them to review every single call. What I'm saying is,
though,
if somebody's, I can't do it because I would not be making a very good point. So I'm not going to go that route because I'd be mad at myself if I was on the other side. I was rooting for Virginia in this game. I wanted Virginia to win, but I didn't want them to win because they took 15 minutes rubbed on the ball as it clearly before that. So that's what I don't like, because that game completely changed at that point in time. All momentums, the whole flow of the game, everything stopped. The whole game changed.
It wasn't lost the game or won the game for either team.
The play didn't win or lose the game. However, the fact that they didn't get the ball when he almost had a breakaway in front of him, I thought he got fouled. Whether he did or didn't, that's not the point. Then they stop the clock, wait forever. Now you think you got the ball. This is going, man. A miss three, getting a long rebound. You got. This is going to be. It becomes a huge possession, and then a minute and a half left or whatever it was, and
just over a minute.
And then everything's gone now. Or shaking each other's hand, or you got to go back out there and you don't get the ball. They change it. You don't get the ball. Completely kills every bit of momentum, every bit of flow of the game for either side, and the game completely changed after that play. I don't like it.
Texas Tech did say that they were surprised because they were expecting to get the ball. They definitely thought they were getting the ball. But if you're a coach in that situation, you have to prepare for both.
Oh, sure.
Because it's being reviewed, and as it goes on longer and
longer. The longer it goes, the more that you need to think, we don't get the ball. We're not getting the ball
And
back.
the more time, you have a 15-minute timeout.
Yeah.
I mean, you have all the time in the world. And the other thing is, there was a minute left, or a little over a minute left. How many possessions happened after that?
Well, most of it was Virginia either getting a steal, or once they go up, then it was a quick shot, a rebound, go down.
But how much? You have to get one stop, and you get the ball back if you're Texas Tech. Now you have the ball back with
down 5, down 2 possessions, where you were only down 1 possession.
But you have to get a stop. If you get a stop on the next possession, you're still only down 2, and you have the ball. But maybe for the last possession.
Instead, now you're forcing them to get a stop. Now you have the ball. Now you're taking way more time off the clock if it's your ball. And I know what you're saying. That whole thing of, one call doesn't change it. There was still game to be played afterwards. I understand all that. That's fine. And you're right. They still laid an egg in the last minute and a half. I understand, and you can take the blame. That's fine. That they should have came out with a little more, whatever you want to call it, fire or whatnot to come back in that game. However, all I'm saying is a play like that does change how the game goes. I think that changed the flow and how that game ended. I think they let that go. They look at it. They're like, I mean, maybe look from over here. Doesn't look like it. Doesn't maybe a hit off him. You know what? It's Texas Tech's ball. Let's go. That dude clearly swatted it out of his hand to make him lose possession. It's Texas Tech's ball. Let's just get this thing rolling. And
so you would rather Texas not actually be right and just say.
I just hate. I have so many things that I just.
Because I think they got the call right.
I think I guess they got the call right.
I understand what you're saying, and if I'm Texas Tech, it's
but you
tough.
Can't tell me that I'm not a Texas Tech fan. I don't care about them. I wanted Virginia to win that game. It didn't matter, but it's the 15 minutes of waiting and looking and the complete flow change. First off, why are 90-year-old out of shape men refereeing the most freakish 20-year-old athletes we have?
Well, I saw you say that.
And no response.
Because I didn't agree. These referees are the best referees technically, because only the best ones are going to get the Final Four.
They
games.
called a great game. And they really did. They called a phenomenal game.
These guys are not out of shape.
No.
Some of them are older, but I know you were kind of joking about that, but these aren't freakish athletes like the NBA. Like Giannis Antetokounmpo is a freakish athlete,
like the NBA.
I mean, Kyle Guy's not a freakish athlete. I could run up and down. But anyway, it's change anything. If you're gonna have replay, maybe that opens Pandora's box and we run into something.
But that's when you got to have limits. Like in the NFL, they have limits on how many they can challenge and things like that. Yeah. So you got to, don't waste a challenge just because, you know what? I think that ball might have tipped off his finger and went out of bounds. And this is different because under 2 minutes, or overtimes, I would say it would be up to the officials. I like the way the NFL does that. Under 2 minutes and in overtime, you don't think I'm good with that. But I don't see why it's a bad thing to say, okay, I want to look at that because I think this is a point in the game that could change the game the way this is going. Or maybe you take a possession where they call a charge a block or a block a charge and you make it or something happens and now all of a sudden you're talking about a 5-point swing in some cases and that could be big. So yeah, I'd be okay if they said, all right, let's take a look at this.
Yeah, it's really interesting. We could talk about the replay debate the entire for an entire show.
Yeah, Virginia won. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations to the Cavaliers after being the very first 1 seed last year to lose.
What a story! What a story that is. And not only that, but the way they got here with the Auburn, the free throws against Auburn, and the Purdue. The shot with Purdue where they fouled and so many crazy endings happened in the Elite Eight and the Final Four and the championship game. Virginia earned that trophy. I don't know. They got a little lucky.
They did get a little lucky.
Absolutely. They got a little lucky in a few things. There's no reason that kid, and that was clearly a foul on that kid from Auburn. There's no reason for him to be flying into the. He was just jumping up.
He came under him, yeah. Like I think he did a good job of keeping his arms back.
Sure, but his body hit his hip and his legs and completely, and it was on the release of the ball. It was clearly a foul. So Auburn fans, I feel bad for you. And he had to make the free throws, so clutch free throws for Kyle Guy, but he shot for Kyle Guy.
And I am so happy that happened and they called it because, like we said before,
they should
have called that, and they normally will let stuff like that go
especially at the very end, last seconds. They let everything go.
Yes, but that has to be called there because it is a foul, and it was. He made the free throws, and I'm so glad that happened because I feel like 10 years ago, of course, this is going to be old man back in my day.
Yep.
But anyway, 10 years ago and before that, it was the cardinal sin to foul a three-point shooter. It happens constantly now. Every night between college and NBA, I see at least one, usually multiple times, where a guy gets fouled shooting a three-pointer. Yeah. And look, guys have become a lot better, thanks to James Harden, about drawing fouls and figuring out how to sell a foul and stuff.
Throw your body into people when you're shooting and doing stuff like that.
But there are still plenty of times where it's legitimately a foul where you aren't closing out properly. You just jump and kind of swing at it or just hit his hand. Yeah. You have to be controlled. You have to contest hard, but be controlled in it, and people do not know how to do that now. I'm glad the foul on the three-pointer was called. I hope that
Bruce Pearl's going to be
makes
coaching
people.
it for a while. I'll tell you that. Bruce
I'll tell
Pearl's
you,
going to be coaching that up for a while.
And
a big thing for him.
I was kind of rooting for Auburn actually in that game.
Listen, you know how I feel about Bruce Pearl. That's my dude, man.
Yeah.
My party animal. Me and Bruce sit back, kick back a couple natties, and have some fun now.
But you make a mistake like that at the end of a game, and you don't deserve to win.
That's right.
So
there you go. So anyway, congratulations to them. Speaking of, you see at least one a night, and it used to be you never saw people fouling 3-point shooters. How about Lourdes? It looks like Lords.
Lourdes, I think.
Lourdes. Yeah. It just looks like Lords. Lourdes Guriel. I can't say anybody's name. Stealing home the other night against Chris Sale. That is something you maybe see once a year, once every 3 years. I mean, it is as seldom as hard to find thing happen in Major League Baseball.
And a straight steal of home. This was not a guy on first and third, guy steals second, throw down, and he goes home. It was not that. He was the only guy on base, on third base, 2 outs, count was 1-1. Chris Sale's on the mound, lefty, so his back is to third base, and my big thing was, and I asked you this before, and I'll ask you it again. Chris Sale was working from the windup. He had a guy on third base. There were 2 outs, but he was working from the windup with his back to a guy on third. Should he be working out of the stretch there?
No, I don't think so. I think that there. So here's the deal. I watched the whole at bat, the first 2 pitches, and Gurriel was getting some big jumps on third base. And you could see that he had the thought in his eye. Number one, your third baseman or your catcher should be looking at you and saying something and telling you to either switch into the stretch, or you don't want to speed your motion up in the windup, because there's a reason he went to the windup, because he's more comfortable in it. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have the threat of someone stealing second or third, then that's when you go into the windup. You see it happen when guys get the bases loaded. They'll switch back into the windup because they're struggling in the stretch. And that seems like that's what was probably happened with Sale. He probably struggled in the stretch. That's probably the reason Gurriel had ended up there. I don't know the whole from his at bat over there. I just watched.
They had scored 2 runs in the inning already.
So there you go. So he's been in the stretch.
So
he's been in the stretch. He's been having some struggles. So he wanted to get himself back into the windup. That's 99% of the time. That's why pitchers are doing that, because now I got a guy at third. There's 2 outs. There's no threat, quote unquote, of somebody stealing a base. I'm going to get into the windup, because if you're stealing a base, I have to throw the ball home, and then they have to throw the ball to the base. And sometimes it gets you out, sometimes I don't. Chances are, if I can take one of those throws out, you're not going to make it home, right? So that's the point. Problem is, Chris Sale's got a little bit of a longer delivery. It's really not that.
He's 8 feet
tall. That's the thing. It's not a super long delivery. It's just he's got such a huge stride, and he doesn't take that little small step when he kicks back in his windup. It's a full step before he gets into it, and I mean, I don't want to brag or anything, but I got a plaque. I stole home 3 times in 1 year, my junior year of high school. So and I got the plaque to prove it. No, but every time I did it, all 3 of mine were with bases loaded, and the pitcher had gone to the windup, and they're not paying attention to you. You take a pitch, take 2 pitches, and you see that he does not care anything about what's going on. He's looking down. Usually you can go before he makes and once they start the windup, they are not allowed to stop. There's no kick your leg up in the air and throw to first or any of that.
Right.
So yeah, I have no reason with Chris Sale being in the windup, but I do have a problem with those first 2. If Gurriel would have went on the first pitch, first off, that would have been ridiculous. You don't ever see that happen. Yeah. But if he would have, then it is what it is. But the fact that he got those 2 huge jumps and almost like faked it just to see if anybody was paying attention, and nobody said a word. In my eyes, that's up to your catcher or your third baseman to see that he's jumping around over there and he's thinking about it. And that's enough for me to say, hey, I don't want to tell you to speed your windup up, but at the same time, I know the stretch has sucked for you in this inning, but you might want to jump back into it.
Yeah, and maybe that's why.
Or at least look over at him. Look over at him, step off the mound completely, and just stare at him for a second, and then
fake
get back
a throw
on.
down or something.
Well, you can't fake a throw when you're in the windup. That's
oh,
a
no,
ball.
sorry, I meant the catcher.
You'd have to, right, or you'd have to completely step off the mound and just look at him for a second. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. The old Dave Stewart, when he just would step off and look over real quick. I don't
well,
know
in the stretch, you can't do that. As soon as when
Yeah,
you're
well,
on,
yeah, right.
yeah. So anyway, yeah. So Guriel, congratulations to you. 2 more times this year, and I'm going to get him a plaque. I'll give him mine.
Awesome. That's my favorite Chris Witt baseball story is you stealing home 3 times.
The best part about that is I'm the slowest man on the face of the earth.
You had wheels back then.
No, I did not.
Back then.
I was a catcher back then. I was not fast.
But you were like skinny as a rail back then.
I was skinny. That doesn't mean anything. I was like they talk about like skinny fast or skinny. I was skinny slow. I was big time slow.
Well, that's what I am now.
I was slow as molasses on a winter day.
But you were a smart player, and that's why I defer to you in these types of situations. That's why I wanted to ask you.
Well, that's what stealing home.
Opinion. Stealing
home is not is norm. I mean, yeah, and maybe in the major leagues you probably want to be a little fast, but to be completely honest, when you're stealing home, that is, if you're going to make that decision, you're probably going to make it home because you're doing so many things to make that work. He started home before Sale took his initial step off the mound to start his windup. So he saw what he was doing. He's staring down, looking at you, get the sign, looking to his glove. It was almost like he was taking a breath. You could see his shoulders pop up and down, and then he went into his windup. And I see those shoulders move. Forget that step off. I'm already taking off. You need every step you can. And that's what it is. It's more baseball smarts when it comes to stealing home than it is straight speed.
Yeah, that was really cool. It was fun to watch, and it got Toronto kind of amped up a little bit.
Did.
They beat Chris Sale. And so they got all excited and they're looking to kind of turn things around. They're like 3-8 I think to start the season. Actually, I think both the Red Sox and Toronto are struggling a little bit, but hopefully that'll get Toronto moving again. Somebody else that needs a little help, needs a little spark. Chris Davis.
Chris Davis needs a spark, brother.
Baltimore's first baseman.
What's he at now? Is he still 40? Is he still 49 or 40?
I didn't see what happened tonight, but. Going into tonight, he was 0 for 49, 0 for his last 49.
0 for his last 49, which sets a new record.
That is the longest hitless streak in Major League history. And here's my thing about it.
Okay.
I have trouble with this and any other record like this that spans 2 years.
Why?
Because it's a totally different circumstance.
Totally
different thing.
I agree. I'm
Two
with
different seasons. I don't really feel like that counts, honestly. Same if you steal. Look, Whit Merrifield right now, who is awesome. Speedster for the Royals, has a 30-game hit streak right now. 30 games, which ties George Brett, one of the great hitters of all time, for the all-time Royals record.
Right.
It spans from last year. At the end of last season through the first 11 or 12.
No matter what he does, though, that it'll always be what's going to matter is what you did in a single season, because that's the now it'll continue and he'll get recognition for it, and it is still a cool game because every game that has counted that you've played in, you've gotten a hit for 30 days. That's impressive. And every game that you've played in, you haven't got a hit for your last 49 at bats. Actually, now it's 50 because he came in and pinch hit and was over.
Didn't get the start tonight.
Was over one. Yeah, imagine that, huh? Imagine that.
Listen, since his last hit, so his last hit was September 14th of last year.
Jeez,
since his last hit, I think it was 569 different players have gotten hits. 75 hits by pitchers.
2-3 of them by Jared Lorenzen.
Jailhouse Rock by Elvis Presley was the number one song on the charts.
Bread was 37 cents a loaf. Gas was $0.25 a gallon.
Yeah, you never pumped it yourself. There was an attendant there to pump it for you.
There's still Swifties around. That was like the last gas station that did
no
that. The old
idea.
Swifty gas station.
I feel like they're probably like in the South somewhere.
Yeah. Why is that? Why are they in the South?
Nothing, no reason. I love my fans from the South.
Yeah, I'm just saying why is because they're always a little bit behind, so they still got. I had a guy actually. No, there's out off. This is out off 52, heading out towards 5 Mile or 10 Mile Road, where 10 Mile Road comes down to 52. There's a little. It's got one pump. And it's one of those dial pumps, and I was almost out of gas out there driving one day, and I pull over. I'm like, I gotta get gas. I got my telling me how many miles are left. It's 0, so I probably got about 15 miles left, right?
You're driving another day and a half at least.
I got to push that bad boy. You know what I mean? I'll make sure I get that old gas out the bottom too. I'll clear that thing out. So
you gotta rotate your stock.
I'm heading down 52 in Ohio, on the east side on the east side of Cincinnati, heading 52 back into town. And it's like a garage. They got a garage. They do some work on cars. There's some tires stacked up, and there's one. When I first pulled up, I thought that it was just I didn't think it was actually a gas pump. I thought it was like, oh man, that's cool. They got a retro gas pump out here for a car. It's a car station, car service station. It was really the one. So this dude comes out.
So Gomer Pyle comes out from the filling station.
He pulls this piece of paper, clipboard off of it, writes down what the numbers say on the dials, and then pumps the gas, and then writes the new numbers down, and then does some math and tells me how much I owe him. Thank God I had cash.
Okay, well, yeah, no kidding. That place is not taking credit card.
I had cash.
I'm not sure they even take a check.
But I don't know. It was awesome though. That was the greatest. This was just 2 years ago.
I was going to say, what year was that?
This is
2
just
years ago?
2 years ago. I'm sure that place is still there.
Gracious.
They're killing it, man. They're killing it on cash gas.
Wow. So you threw out a bunch of numbers there. Something that I thought was interesting about this Chris Davis thing, jumping back really quickly to this, he is on a massive, massive contract because he had a couple years there where he hit like 47 and 53 home runs, and he was one of the better power hitters, in the league for a couple years.
For 2 years. Yeah. It was really 1 year, but we'll give him 2.
Okay, so he is on a 7-year, $161 million contract. So in the span between his last hit and today, he has made $3.5 million. So it was
longer. It was longer than I misspoke. It was definitely longer than a year. 33, 53, 26, 47, 38. So he had a good 4-year span.
He did.
So anyway, continue. Sorry.
But anyway, he has made because he has this really big contract. I saw where they broke it down, and it's what is it? It's only like 29 games. In the 29 games that he has not gotten a hit, 49 at bats, made $3.5 million to not get a hit at all. You know how much money I've made to not get a hit for the last 29 days?
A couple $100.
0. Exactly $0 and exactly 0 cents.
Oh goodness.
Anyway,
so Chris Davis, man. I mean, that's rough.
It is rough.
Think about what's harder, a 56-game hitting streak or a 56-game hitless streak?
A 56-game hitting streak is exponentially more difficult. That's one thing we talked about, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but you and I talked about this yesterday, was that it really doesn't, like 49 at-bats doesn't sound like very much to me, because you're going to get somewhere between probably 550 to 600 in the year.
It's 13 games.
13 games.
It's about 14 games.
Okay.
That's a lot of games.
It's really not, though, when you think about 162.
To not have a hit for a professional hitter? That's a lot of games.
But you
know how hard it's going to be for him to start getting hits to come back.
To think about your average guy gets a hit 1 out of every 4, it just doesn't feel like a big number to me. It obviously is, because it's the all-time hitless streak. Yeah. So it's way bigger than it sounds to me, though. I don't know. There's just something about it that I'm like, okay, it's not that many games. It's not that many at bats. He's going to get a hit. Like, people go through bad slumps all the time.
How about this? It's a record.
It is a record, and that's all you have to say.
That's all you got to say. It's a record. No, there's the one guy got to 42 or something, or 47, and he just broke it. So it's tough to do.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's a lot. We'll just say it's a lot.
Yeah.
Speaking of a lot of hits, before we get into our next spot, we did a Beat the Streak group last year.
We did, and we have not spoken about it this
year.
year.
We have not spoken about it. You know what? Tonight there will be a Beat the Streak group for the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. So I will get on. I will create a group on Beat the Streak. It'll be just Nose Space Bleeds Space Sports. So 3 words: Nose Bleeds Sports. Find it and join it. We'll put a link up somewhere.
Yeah, we'll let you know about it next week.
Next week as well. We'll continue to put out there, but we're going to go back. I think we need to give out something else out of the another giveaway box. We had a nice giveaway box last year from Mike Jenkins, and
I've had a 6-gamer already this year.
Have you? See, I haven't even picked it up yet.
I had a 4-gamer and then a 6-gamer.
Nice. Where you at right now?
I think I don't know that either one of my guys got hits last night, so I think I'm back to 0.
Back to the 0.
Yeah. So anyway,
50 games away. You were close.
So
anyway, back to that. So speaking of back to guys having a rough time, another loss tonight for our Cincinnati Reds.
False.
Did they win that game?
The Reds hit back-to-back home runs in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Oh, my gosh. I
and
turned the game off in the 7th.
Yep.
Amir Garrett.
They were down 1-0. They were down 1-0. Jose Iglesias and Jesse Winker hit back-to-back home runs in the bottom of the 8th, and they won 2-1.
Hey, it's a streak. That's a winning streak, bro.
After they broke their 8-game losing streak, they are now on a 2-game winning streak. Everybody gets healthy against the Marlins.
Think about that's the truth too, and that's the other thing. It's the Marlins,
and everybody else gets healthy against the Reds.
Yes, but here's the deal. Think about this though, because we talk about how last year the Reds started out 3-18, and the Reds can't do that this year. Everybody says the Reds can't do it. They go 1-8, and then it's like, here we go, terrible, and people start to get a few right-headed minds like Tyler Roop, who joined us last week from the cheap seats, saying, "Listen, the Red Sox are 3-8 at this time. This is that, the other." Let's just take a deep breath. These kind of streaks happen throughout the year. The problem is we know what the Reds did the last 4 years. So to see them start like that, you just immediately have the thought process that's how it's going to go. Now they're 3-8. That's way different than 1-9 or 1-10.
Yes.
Or 3-18. Mm-hmm. So I'm feeling a little bit better today. Pitching has been phenomenal. You know, and that's the one thing I wanted to talk about. We knew the bats were going to come alive. They came alive last night when they scored 11.
They scored 14 last night.
Was it 14?
Yeah.
See, I don't even know
they
that
just
even
kept
happened.
pouring it on.
And they hit back-to-back home runs. They hit 5 bombs altogether. One time they had 3 in a row. So, but the thing is this pitching staff, Luis Castilla is a guy that we've been watching for 3 years now. Part of a year 3 years ago, part of a year 2 years ago, and pitched all year last year and had great times and struggled, and he looks phenomenal.
You know who he reminds me of right now?
Jake DeGrom. He's going to win a daggone Cy Young with a last-place team.
I keep thinking of Luis Castillo as Johnny Cueto, too. He has such a great feel. Developed that changeup so well, and he is using it and making people look silly and striking a ton of people out. And
not walking people. That's the big thing. He's not walking people.
He walked.
Disco's doing the same thing.
In his first game, he walked 3 or 4. In his second game, he walked like 3 or something. But since then, his last couple starts.
You know what? That's way less than what he was doing last year.
Yeah, you're right.
He was averaging like a walk an inning. He was like 1.2 walks per inning, which is
horrible.
Holy cow!
Really bad.
That is not good.
So he seems like he has really done a lot of work in the offseason and gotten that changeup going, and he can throw the ball hard. So he mixes up that changeup and that fastball and spots both of those well. He is going to be. And I think he looks like he's going to keep consistency this time. Because like you said, last year, he had full months where he was outstanding. He looked like he does right now. But then he would go another month, and his ERA would be over 6, and he would walk 5 guys in 4 innings and get taken out of the game.
Yeah.
And, He looks different this year.
You can see the confidence, man. That's such a big thing for pitchers when they get a feel for all their pitches and they're throwing strikes and they're painting corners and putting the ball where they want. They start getting a little swagger in their delivery, and they gain a mile or 2 mile an hour on their fastball, and the movement on pitches just gets. It's fun to watch this kid. It's the kid we thought was going to be our number one for the last 3-4 years now. He's developed into it just like we thought. Disco's looking good. He struggled in one of his 3 outings, but Disco's looking good. We get the rest of these guys that we picked up to help us out, eat up some innings going, and we'll be all right.
Tyler Malley walked a bunch of guys tonight, but he ended up pitching, I think, five or 6 innings, and he only gave up 2 hits, 1 run.
One run. Yeah, he walked 4. And it was, he was just missing with his fastball early. He wasn't missing by much. And that's something that I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. It's early. He's still got some kinks to work out, maybe that he couldn't get worked out earlier. But I think that happens to pitchers throughout the year a lot. He just was missing a little bit. But the thing that I like about that tonight was he fought through it. He only gave up 1 run while walking 4 in the first 3 innings of the game. And he pitched 5, I think. I think he went 5 innings.
Yeah.
He went 5, but all 4 of his walks were in the first 3 innings. He fought back. He let the guys make contact. He pitched to contact, which I love. So many pitchers don't do anymore, but some of your best pitchers out there that you see still can do that. Anyway, I like to see these bats come alive, because once they do, the way this bullpen has pitched, outside of Raisel Iglesias, who's supposed to be the big dollar closer for us, which both of us thought the better move for that would have been to get rid of him, trade him while the iron's hot, while the stock's high, get rid of him.
Yep.
It didn't happen. They signed him to a big contract. He's got no saves. And, I don't know if he got one tonight or not.
He did get one tonight.
All right, so he got to save the nights, and he's got 2 blown saves. So
it's about putting the 2 together. You got to finally get to where you're hitting and pitching at the same time, and they just haven't quite done that yet. I guess they did last night in the 14-0 win, but they've got to keep that going. They've got to get some momentum going on both sides now.
We need those 14-run games to come when Malley or somebody else is pitching, or Sonny Gray's pitching, for God's sake.
Yeah.
We need those and when Castillo pitches, all right, just give him a run. He'll be all right.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So what they also need to start doing is beating the teams in their division, because they got swept by Milwaukee, and then they got swept this weekend by Pittsburgh in what ended up being an exciting weekend for being swept.
You ain't kidding. How about my boy Puig? I'm liking this dude a lot, and everything he does makes you
totally
so
opposite
mad.
for me.
He makes you so mad.
Totally opposite for me.
Some of the best pictures come out of this. The best tweet out of this, out of the Pittsburgh fight. So what happened was Dietrich hits a bomb, stares at it for I don't know how long he stared at it, because they couldn't keep the camera on him long enough to see him get into his home run trot. So it was a while. Hits a bomb, stares at it a while. Chris Archer throws behind him. And they warn both dugouts, which, to be completely honest, is kind of a normal thing to do. Now, at the same time, our boy
David
Bell gets a little heated, and as soon as Bell goes out, I guess Puig just felt like that was okay for him to do what he wanted to do. My man tried to take on the entire. Well, he didn't. If you really watch the fight, everybody was in on it. But there's just like this one point where he's in the air trying to hit somebody or something, and it's just him and a whole bunch of yellow.
Yeah.
It looked like ketchup and mustard.
Yeah, you're right, yeah. After it had died down, actually.
Yeah.
Because he was the first one out there. And that's one of those things that, you know what? Forget the bat flips. Bat flip all you want. But when you are the first one out there because you're looking for a fight, that's those antics that I'm like,
I know. It annoys you.
Come on.
It's the way that kid is.
He's the one that wants to get into it. And now his teammates are probably like, yeah, dude, I love this guy. He's got my back all the time. He's going to fight for me.
Exactly.
He's going to fight for me. But not necessary. He's going to start because that's what he does is he cashes checks that somebody else, or he writes checks, I'm sorry, that the rest of his teammates are going to have to cash. And that grew old with some of his teammates in L.A.
It did.
And it's going to here if he continues
We'll see how it
stuff
goes.
like that.
So far, it's just been this case. And in this case, he's It's something that's gone out there, kind of a kickstart. He really kickstarted it. But at the same time, it was a proof of, hey, I got your back. Mm-hmm. And in these cases, I don't think this is going to hurt the team. Now, when he does something himself to lackadaisically do something crazy, or not run after something, hit a ground ball and just walk back to the dugout, and then the guy boots it, those are the things when people start getting annoyed. So it's at this point in time, I'm okay, we'll let it go. We know what we got, we know who he is, so you gotta kind of deal with the good and the bad. However, I just want to say the best tweet was Tucker Barnhart's tweet. Did you see the Tucker Barnhart tweet where he was recording his TV and he was going in slow-mo?
And he sent it to Joe Thomas.
He said, I think my problem was my pad level was a little too high. Something like I lost containment with my right arm.
Lost hand position or something. Yeah.
I absolutely love that. That was the greatest. If I could vote on a tweet of the year, it would be that one. Tucker Barnhart, I'm going to tell you right now, phenomenal follow on Twitter.
Yeah, he's really good. He's my second favorite player on the team anyway.
Oh, my God, he cracks me up. Behind Yasiel Puig?
Behind Joey Votto. Yasiel Puig is a little lower than number 2.
I'm loving myself some Puigster. You know what though? In all honesty, this guy has come into Cincinnati and embraced Cincinnati. He has done more in this city for kids, and all you ever see is all these things he's doing for kids and inner city schools, and he's out with kids every single day. It seems like there's something new he's doing. And I really do like that. I mean, it shows that the guy does really have a good heart. He might be a hothead and he might be a little crazy, but he came here knowing we knew he was crazy.
The second that trade went through, he tweeted himself with a Reds hat on.
Yep.
Acted like he was really excited about joining the Reds.
I don't think he acted. I think he really was.
I didn't mean like he was acting, but he was excited. He was showing his excitement, and that part is cool. I love that he wants to be here. And that's awesome. And yeah, the community stuff, those guys, I think the Reds probably don't get enough credit for the Reds community fund. They do all kinds of stuff to raise money for all kinds of different youth organizations and stuff, and they have players go out and do all kinds of things. So that stuff is really cool. Let me ask you though, talking specifically about what happened.
Okay.
I know we talked a little bit when we talked about Puig last week about, the bat flips and the watching home runs and stuff. That happens a lot more now than it used to. I don't love it, but I understand because there's a big group of people that are trying to push for this new age, because quite honestly, baseball does need something new to a lot of people. If you want to keep bringing in new, younger people, younger fans, and bringing more people into fandom of Major League Baseball, you are going to need some new, maybe a little what I think they're calling swagger. The Bryce Harper kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Where you do bat flips and you do extra celebrations and stuff that used to not be allowed.
No,
it used to be frowned upon at least.
It gets you hit.
What's that?
It gets you hit.
It would get you hit, and it almost did to Derek Dietrich. The difference between what Derek Dietrich did and what a lot of other guys are doing now, there is a difference to me. Derek Dietrich stood there way longer than most guys. Hit home runs, and they will watch it for a second, and then they will put their bat down and run. Derek Dietrich stood there, posed, leaned back on his heels, and watched the ball until it left the ballpark completely, and then started to walk to first base.
Do it,
I'm
big
telling
boy.
you.
Do it, big boy.
I'm telling you.
Listen.
That's unacceptable. If I'm a pitcher, that is trash talking. That is embarrassing me. I'm already
So trash talking is not allowed? Is that, I mean, in the NBA, if you're a trash talker, you're like looked on as one of the coolest dudes out there.
But it's not allowed in baseball. And you should not. No. You are showing someone up. You're embarrassing them on purpose. And I feel like what he did. You want to talk about sportsmanship? That's terrible sportsmanship. I will give you a little bit of grace. That one did not deserve it. If I'm a pitcher, I'm mad.
Okay,
I'm really mad at
So
him.
let me see if I got this right. So you're okay with a celebration of your home run?
You know what? When
You're good
running
with
around the bases,
like if I hit it and I kill it and like yo, got her, flip the bat, do a little
and run
and
pump your fist, do whatever, but run the bases. You don't need to. You can do your own celebration. Celebrate with your teammates when you get in there. Don't stand there and admire the work that you just did when you beat this guy. Don't do that. That's disrespectful. That is being unsportsmanlike to me.
I think there's such a line.
There is a line, but he
so
wasn't on the
small.
line. To me, he wasn't on the line. He was way over it. So if I'm Archer, I'm mad. And Cervelli was the first one to say something. Archer didn't even. He was probably mad. Cervelli said something as he crossed home plate. He said something to him first, and then he came up the second time. Archer threw behind him. Now my biggest problem. So I understand why Archer did that. No, if I'm a pitcher, I don't throw at anybody. If I have a problem with it, I'm greeting him at home plate and telling him what I think about it. That I'm good with. I don't think you throw a weapon at anybody. But
isn't that funny? Like the way that they police baseball is assault with a weapon.
You throw a weapon at somebody. But here's the other thing: is my biggest problem with the whole thing is what everybody said afterwards when they were asked about it. What I couldn't stand was David Bell said, "It's a problem. I have a big problem with somebody trying to hurt my guy." Chris Archer was definitely not trying to hurt him. He threw behind him on purpose so that
know about that.
It was
you know what? I watched him by much.
I watched it today and it was closer than I thought it was the first time.
It wasn't. He didn't miss him by much.
He threw it. It went right behind his butt. First of all, perfect location, because if you're going to hit him, you're going to hit him there, and that's going to be the best place to hit him without hurting him.
Sure.
All right. And you're throwing behind him. If he wanted to hit him, Chris Archer could hit Derek Dietrich with no problem.
All right.
If he wanted to.
I don't think
he wanted to send the message and not hurt the guy. David Bell was saying he specifically said he is trying to hurt my guy, and that's not okay.
Here's the deal. I'm going to tell you right now. You get a ball thrown behind you, and a ball that I saw the pitch multiple times. It wasn't that far from him. He had to get a little hip thrust.
He didn't move much.
He had to get a little bit of a hip thrust to get out of it. If he wouldn't have hipped his thrusted his hips, it would have been closer. But all I'm saying is I don't know that with that pitch you can actually say that Archer wasn't trying to throw at him. I don't know that you can say he was trying to throw behind him. I don't think so. And if he was trying to throw behind him, then that's not even baseball. I don't know what you're doing in that case. No message. That's not a message.
That's way better to me, because if
when you hit somebody, and yes, you are trying to hurt somebody. That's how it's been forever. And if something were to happen against David Bell, I guarantee he'd be the opposite way if it was his pitcher on the mound. It is what it is. He says what he says. He's got to do what he's got to do. He's more mad at the fact of both benches getting warned, which is what happens anyway. So,
well, I think he came out and wanted. That's what I thought at first, and then I think I kind of tried to read his lips a little bit, and it looked like he was just saying, "Why is he not thrown out? He's trying to hit my guy on purpose. Why is he not just thrown out?"
Right.
So I think that's what, when he first went out there, he ran out there and met the home plate umpire.
He was hot,
and that's what he was saying. Yeah.
Well, then he should, and I'm fine with that. He should, and to be honest with you, in a blatant attempt like that, at some point you have, as an umpire, probably should have thrown Archer out.
And that's where I completely disagree with. I don't think he was trying to hit him. I think he was trying to send the message, and he threw behind him on purpose so that he didn't hit him. I really do think that.
I'm going to tell you, buddy. I know that you got a lot of respect for Major League Baseball pitchers, but the strike zone's big. You know what I mean? And you're throwing at a big zone.
So is Derek Dietrich. If he wanted to hit him, he hits him easily, I think. So I do not believe he was trying to hit him. I definitely don't think he was trying to hurt him. I think he wanted to let him know, I'm not happy with the way you disrespected me and the game. That's another thing
throw behind me. That's just a ball.
Exactly.
Which is a ball. That was dumb on your fault. Now you're behind in the count.
That's way better than hitting the guy and putting him on first base.
I want you to be hurt. I want you to hurt. I want you to hurt for what you did. That's what it's all about. That's why they do it.
But
if you're in that case, then you should do nothing. You should never even. Why would you? you're going to put yourself in trouble by putting a guy on first anyway. But why would I want to get myself behind an account and throw behind a guy? No,
because that's 1,000 times better than than possibly hurting a guy, injuring him seriously.
That's not what these dudes are thinking about out there. That's not I
do think they do think about that stuff, and I really do think that if he wanted to hit him, he would have. If he wanted to hurt him, he would have thrown at his knee or his head. I mean, if he wanted to hurt him,
listen, it's like I said before. You see pitchers throw balls all the time, and they miss by a foot and a half, 2 feet, and you see them throw a ball right down the middle, and they're trying to hit a spot. It's not a perfect science. I know that they're professionals and all that stuff, but I'm telling you, like he would have thrown at his knee. He would have thrown. If somebody could pinpoint exactly where they're going to hit somebody every time, then they'd probably be a little bit better of a pitcher and wouldn't have gave up 2 bombs to Dietrich to begin with. Oh, he only gave up 1. The other guy came in and gave. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, bro. I disagree with the point that you think he purposely threw behind and purposely did not try to hit him. I think that's you in your head of how I would never try to hurt somebody in that aspect. Trying to play it out in somebody else's mind, because Chris Archer is an idiot. He's done so many. He's done this way more than once or twice. He's been thrown out of games for hitting people multiple times in cases like this.
So then, if he wants to hit somebody, he's going to hit him.
Well, what I'm saying is, if he's going to throw at somebody, he's trying to hit them. That's what I'm telling you. It's not something new for him. I think he just missed.
Huh? That's it. Okay. That's interesting. Then we definitely disagree on this.
100%.
Another thing though was I couldn't stand that Chris Archer actually said that he did not try to throw at him, or he didn't try.
If you say that you did though, you get suspended for multiple games.
He got suspended for the 5 games that he's missing 1 start.
You're right, but if Puig doesn't run out there like a bat out of hell, then he would have never got fined. He would have never got those probably because he didn't actually hit him. If he would have hit him, then maybe they would have came back and looked at it. But he'd never hit him. I don't think it would have. I don't know. Maybe there would have been a fine. I don't think there would have been a fine, or would have been a suspension. But it's you have to say that. You have to. Once again, you have to. You're trying. That's damage control at that point in time. That's just part of. It's part of the unwritten rules. It's part of. You don't come out and say, yeah, I was trying to beat him. I wanted to put a bruise on his ass because he stared at the ball too long.
Derek Dietrich said flat out, I stood there and watched the ball. I stood there and admired that hit. That
he killed
run.
It.
Yep.
Oh boy, smoked it.
Why is he winning award? Why is he allowed to do that? That's disrespectful to the game and to the everything.
Why is he not allowed to admire his work? He's an artist. These guys are artists. This is entertainment. You literally are an entertainer out there on the field. And when you beat a professional, and not just beat him, I'm talking meet it perfectly and get everything you got into it. Why can't I watch that ball go out? I just whooped your ass. I just beat you. I'm not staring you down. If he would have stared Archer down, that's a different story. He didn't do that. He never looked at Archer one time. He watched that ball. He hit. He did.
That was the problem that I had with what Derek Dietrich said after the game. He said, there's nothing wrong with what I did. Exactly what you just said. And he said, I didn't say a word. That was his rationalization for I didn't do anything wrong.
That's not. I don't think that's. I think this is an old, stupid baseball rule that I can't watch myself. I can't watch the home run. Oh my God! Who cares?
He stood there and posed in the batter's box.
Watch that song go. But he was he was happy. Good for him.
Then run around the bases, pump your fist, be happy. But don't
stand there. Now we have to tell people exactly how to celebrate how to celebrate.
It's not on the line to me. It's not on the line to me. It's way past the line. The way he stood there. I hope you watch it again and just look at how long.
Oh, I saw it. Yeah, he did. And on his second home run, he did the exact. He ended in the. I think a lot of that is also how he ends. That's where his swing ends when he kills it, because he did it in his second one too. He ended the exact same way and.
He didn't stay in there,
quote unquote,
nearly as long.
He didn't stay there as long, right? He took off earlier. Obviously, he had just got thrown at for doing it a couple innings before, so he's probably like, I think I'm going to take off a little earlier. But I think the pose, quote unquote pose, I think that's how he ends his swing. I don't think that he hit it hit that bomb and then like popped his little hip out, like a little.
That's
hip
what
pop,
he did actually.
Little hip
that
pop,
is
like,
kind of what he did.
Oop.
That really is pretty much what he did. Now, we completely disagree on
so
this.
then so in that case, Ken Griffey Jr. you should do that all the time. Ken Griffey Jr. would he'd drop the bat, his hip would pop out, and he'd look at it and he'd take his 2 struts and then he'd jog.
Yep, he took his 2 struts. He didn't stand there in the batter's box for about 5 seconds and watch the
watch
thing.
it,
And
hey,
then start,
watch it. I got
and
no
then,
problem.
and then take 10 struts.
That's not showing anybody up. Showing
It's
somebody up
absolutely
is when
showing
I
somebody
hit
up
it
to
and
me.
stare at you like what Bryce Harper did back in the minor leagues when he hit some ball out and started running his mouth at the pitcher and told him that he said, "I just smoked you," or whatever he was saying to him.
And
That's showing a guy up. That's ridiculous. That's stupid. I disagree with that. That is unsportsmanlike. But if I just won, if I just beat you, it is a tough I think the most toughest thing to do in all of Major League Sports is hit a ball. Hit a 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
Yep.
Or how about now they got this dude out there throwing 98-mile-an-hour breaking balls. Like, it's ridiculous. Aroldis Chapman slider at 92. So that's the most difficult thing in baseball to do. And there's so much going on in every at bat. And when I win, when I hit that, and I get everything I got on it where I don't even feel it come off the bat, I don't care. Go ahead, watch that thing. As long as I'm not staring at you and running my mouth at you, that's unsportsmanlike. Going back at somebody, that's unsportsmanlike. I don't think watching that ball is as bad. I know we're way off on this. Here's
what we can agree on, though. And we talked about this when we had Bobby Nightingale on. You asked him, does anybody beat Michael Lorenzen in a biceps contest? And he mentioned Derek Dietrich. Mm-hmm. Derek Dietrich is put together. That man has
a brick
physique.
Shit house right there, buddy.
That man has a physique. Now, we can agree on that. You know where I go for my physique? Which is nowhere near Derek Dietrich's. I go to training personally with Peggy Edwards. No matter your level of fitness, if you like to be challenged and you want the benefit of working with a personal trainer without the cost of one.
That's the biggest part.
That's the biggest part.
I ain't got no cash.
Then training personally with Peggy Edwards is for you. Training personally is interval circuit training for all levels with a personal trainer, not the personal trainer cost, with a personal trainer at your pace, with your ability, on your time.
Modified to your time, modified to your level.
Exactly. Peggy Edwards keeps workouts safe, fun, fresh, changes it up all the time. She will get you in shape no matter where you're at now. She will get you to where you want to be. And beyond that, Training Personally, you can find Training Personally on Facebook and trainingpersonally.com.
I love that place, man. Little gym under the school, dude. You gotta love that.
It's an intimate place. It's not one of these massive gyms that you go to that there are 1,000 people there that make you feel bad about yourself.
Sometimes Adam there, he makes me feel bad. He's up there grunting, pulling up like 620 on the bench, squatting 1.6 thousand.
It's not a place like that at all. In fact, there are very little free weights there. It's not like that. It's circuit training. It's interval stuff. You're gonna get functionally fit there.
Is there a website we can go to check this out?
Trainingpersonally.com.
There you go.
Also on Facebook. Now,
we're an hour and 10 minutes into this thing, and we've still got a lot to go. Dude, we've got NBA galore. So before we get to the playoffs, let's get into the NBA. Before we get into the playoffs, do you want to go? Do we go? I'm going to let you make the decision. Do we go Dwayne Dirk or do we go Magic?
Really quickly with Magic. Let's go really quickly with Magic.
Good luck with us going quick, but let's try it.
Okay, so Magic Johnson yesterday, kind of out of the blue, out of nowhere, basically from what I understand, decided right then, like on that day, yesterday, that this was not the job. President of basketball operations for the Los Angeles Lakers, he decided he was done.
He wants to be able to tweet Dwayne Wade and tell him how good, and tell him congratulations, yes. And he feels bad that he can't do it, so screw it. I'll just quit.
Now, he has been, over the years, a mentor for so many players. He loves to be involved with a lot of the stars, and, he's involved in basketball. He's a perfect ambassador for the game of basketball. He can't do it. He doesn't feel like he can do it to the best of his ability and have fun with it as the president of the Lakers.
Right.
Because of the whole tamper, everything's
He didn't even
tampering
talk
now.
to Jeannie Buss about it.
That's the weird thing. He didn't
Never
talk
even
to
brought it.
anybody
Didn't
about
say
it.
anything. He said, I didn't say anything to Jeannie Buss because she tried to talk me out of it.
He called for a press conference and told the world, told Adam Schmidt in Cincinnati
Before he told his
Jeannie
boss.
Yes.
How crazy is that? I think, man, there's a lot of stuff going out there. What does this do for Luke Walton? What does this do with LeBron? At this point in time, I think the Lakers are just stunned. I think they are in stunned mode. You don't hear anything about who's taking over this president of basketball operations or any of this stuff. It's just basically, oh, crap. Thank God the season's over tomorrow, because this happened yesterday. Thank God the season's over tomorrow so we can figure out what the heck had just happened.
Yeah. The offseason for the Lakers, and the season's over now, but the offseason for the Lakers, it was already going to be, chaotic. But now you have to replace Magic, and you have to replace, likely still, I think no matter whether Magic is there or not, you're going to have to replace the coaching staff.
I disagree. I don't know, man. They've proven that they are okay. That they kept Luke Walton way longer than everybody thought they would. I think I like Luke Walton. I heard somewhere Magic said he had not talked to Luke Walton in like a week.
Well, there was a report from Ramona
Shelburne
that said, that said they haven't spoken in weeks. They were not on speaking terms.
How crazy is that?
I don't know what happened there.
So the fact that it was Magic that got out before it was Luke tells me Luke might still be sticking around.
Maybe. But you also heard earlier in the season about how LeBron's people are pushing for Luke Walton to be out. Usually when that happens, anytime that's happened in the past,
I think LeBron's also realizing what it's like to be in a real franchise. He's not. He's still got pull. Don't get me wrong, and he's earned all the pull he's got. But I don't think he's got quite the pull that he used to have in Cleveland, where he could just say something or have his people say something out on the Twitter sphere, and next, it's interesting that Luke's still there, because that's something that LeBron's not used to. He's used to him being gone once that rumor gets out there. Now he's still there. Now Magic's gone. I think Luke comes back. I think Luke's the coach of this team next year.
I wouldn't mind if he was.
I think Luke Walton's a good coach. He's proven. I think he's a decent coach.
Well, he's coached under Steve Kerr.
That dude went like 30-0 when he was the head coach of the Warriors.
When the Warriors were at their very, very best. But he played for Phil Jackson. He has been under the tutelage of some of the very, very best. So, and he's a basketball lifer. His dad is a Hall of Famer. His
dad's the most annoying guy on the TV.
Right. So, but yeah, Luke knows basketball. It's not. I don't think he's a bad coach or anything. I don't think he's going to be the Lakers coach. I think he's going to get an opportunity absolutely somewhere else. But I don't think he'll be the Lakers coach. Either way, it's going to be a big time offseason, because they've got a lot of roster spots to fill. All these 1 year guys may or may not be back. Probably not. I think they're going to try to revamp everything. I'm sure they're still going to go after Anthony Davis. They're going to try to trade for him again, I think.
They're
going to make a lot. They're going to try to make a lot of moves and build this thing up. Because LeBron's going to be 35, and it's time to do it right now. You have to make moves immediately.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was just a really odd thing to see Magic. I totally understood his reasons. He doesn't want to have to deal with the tampering stuff, and he said it just wasn't his fun. He just wasn't having his fun. He's a business mogul. He's got so many.
Did he really think that was going to be fun? I mean, honestly, did he really? Bringing in the spectacle of LeBron James. I mean, it might have been fun in theory, but look, just look at what happens everywhere LeBron goes. And I don't mean this as a knock on LeBron. It just is what it is. The man is as polarizing a figure as I've ever seen in sports in my life. So, yeah, you're bringing that guy on. Yeah, it's going to be fun when you first sign him. But look wherever he's been. He went to the Heat. When he went to the Heat, he was all of a sudden he's hated by the world.
Yeah.
Like, this dude, wherever he goes, there is drama and crazy stuff that goes with him. Listen, you know how I feel about LeBron. That's my boy.
Mm-hmm.
I love him. I think he's the greatest player on earth right now, by far. and well, maybe not by far. Well, the greatest player of this generation. I don't know. Forget all that stuff. The fact is there's more to bringing LeBron in than just fun and games of signing him and being Magic with your smile. And Magic found out it's not that easy.
It's not that easy. By everybody's account, Magic was not doing a good job. I think it's too early to say that Magic was a complete failure just because.
No, I don't think that.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of people say that, but
everybody keeps talking about trading D'Angelo Russell, or not D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah, you're right.
And how,
and how they couldn't pull off the Anthony Davis trade in the middle of the year.
But Russell had already screwed up. Russell had already screwed his time in L.A. with the whole. He'd already rubbed people the wrong way with the video with Slick Nick or whatever, Swaggy P. How's this dude's nickname Swaggy P?
I have no clue.
What's this dude's middle name?
Not a fan.
His name is Nick Young, N-Y. There's not a P in Nick, Nicholas Young, Youngie, Youngster. There's no P anywhere. Where'd my dude get Swaggy P at?
What's his middle name?
That's what I hope it's got a P in it.
Maybe Penelope, or
maybe he's got a Swaggy. I don't know.
Oh, let's stop there. I
was thinking like pineapple or something.
Oh, okay, maybe he's got a Swaggy pineapple.
I can see. Okay, now hearing you say it,
I thought you were going there.
That was going a whole different way.
Anyway,
sorry.
Okay, Lakers are a mess. They're going to have to fix things immediately because that's what you expect from the Lakers. The Lakers can't just be bad all the time. They have to fix it right now, especially when you have LeBron James on your team. Two guys. Now, LeBron still has a few years left. A couple of his friends, though, are playing their very last games tonight, have played their very last games tonight in their NBA careers. Two guys that are going to be in the Hall of Fame. They both played their last home games last night. Big-time tribute videos. Everybody's, tearing up and all that good stuff. Both guys dropped 30. We're talking about Dwayne Wade and Dirk Nowitzki in their respective cities.
Dirk's averaging 4 points a game all year long, and he drops 30 in that final game.
He
had a dunk. Did you see the dunk?
I missed the dunk.
He had a dunk where he did like a little drop, not a drop step, but he did like a little, one bounce. I thought he was going to fall over and break something.
Yeah.
He looked like he was 90 years old.
He does.
If that dude wasn't 7 foot, he would have never been able to, I think he was on his tippy toes.
Yeah.
And he just barely got up there. And he hung on the rim for a minute because I think he was scared to drop that 6 inches. He thought he might break a knee or something. He didn't know what was going to happen.
I'm glad he didn't break a knee because
the jumper was wet though last night.
Yeah. He can still shoot it. He can.
Sure.
It just, he can't really play a complete game anymore. But anyway, it's hard to not like Dirk. He's a very likable guy. So is Dwayne Wade.
Dirk's favorite player. Go back and watch this dude, the highlights, and watch what's the young kid they got now that I love that was probably going to win Rookie of the Year, even though it shouldn't. It should be Trae Young.
Probably Trae Young. Yeah. Yep. It just escaped me too.
Yeah, you know who that guy is. Anyway, so. How does that happen? Anyway, that kid's going crazy, jumping around. So, a lot of fun. Congratulations, Dirk. So, my favorite part of Dirk's 30-point night was the dunk. My favorite part, go ahead.
No.
Oh, my favorite part of Dwayne Wade's 30-point night. First off, Dwayne went 33-3. My man's number 3. How these NBA players are doing exactly what they want to do when they do it is just ridiculous to me.
Ever since Kobe got 60 in his last game.
Yeah, it's just a little nuts.
They just work it out.
So Dwayne Wade at the end of the game is known for running in big games when he hits shots or hits a buzzer beater, wins a championship, runs and jumps on the media table, the scores table. He got a microphone in his hand, says whatever he says to the crowd, runs up, jumps to get onto the scores table, and falls.
I didn't see that.
You didn't see that?
How did I not see that?
He went to jump up on the scores table, fell. He's got a mic in his hand. He goes, something like, that was a tragic failure. Let's try this again. Gets up, runs back over, and jumps on it. It was the funniest thing of the entire night.
So...
Dwayne Wade falling on his face.
That was before the game?
No, after. That was after the game. He had already traded his jersey because he didn't even have his jersey on.
Okay, so that was after the game. Dirk Nowitzki addressed the crowd in Dallas before his last home game last night, and that's where he officially, because everybody's been talking about it. Everybody's been talking about it.
Yeah.
Dirk never said that he was retiring this year until last night. Before that game, he said, "This is my last home game." That's the first time we actually knew for sure that he was retiring.
Exactly.
He went for 30 last night. His actual last game was tonight, not at home. His actual last game was tonight against San Antonio. In San Antonio, he had 20 and 10. So he finished his career.
He gets a double-double. And Dwayne Wade, in his very last NBA game, finished with a triple-double. I don't understand how this works.
I
don't understand this league.
And
the other last week, Nipsey Hussle or whatever this dude's name is dies, and that's Russell Westbrook's buddy. And this dude's got something with the number 60. So what does Russ do? He goes and drops 20, 20, and 20. We talked about this last week. I had no idea that the reason he wanted to do it is because 60 meant something to him. So he just went out and did it.
Yeah.
That's just ridiculous. How's this? Why don't y'all do this all the time?
Yeah. If you can do this whenever you want, what's going on?
It's so silly.
I think it's because you can do it at the end of a year when you're not in playoff contention. You can do that, and it doesn't matter if you lose. But Miami was actually playing for their playoff life still last night until Detroit won
because
during
they
their
won,
game.
but
I
it
think,
didn't matter. Detroit
so
won
it ended up
and
not
ended
winning.
that.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, speaking of that, Detroit won again tonight, which set the very last spot in the East. So now the playoffs are set. The seeds are set. We have Milwaukee, of course, with the 1 seed, Toronto with the 2 seed, Philadelphia the 3, Boston and Indiana were the 2 that were until like yesterday really. We weren't positive how that was going to turn out, but Boston did end up the 4 seed, so Indiana's the 5, so they're going to be a first round match. And then Brooklyn's the 6. Orlando, who has been like maybe the hottest team besides Milwaukee in the second half of the season in the East, ended up the 7 seed. And then Detroit, the 8 seed. So Charlotte and Miami. Charlotte was still playing for a playoff spot tonight. So, but Detroit just had to win, and they were out. So that's what happened. And I believe Charlotte actually ended up losing. So with Detroit's win, that means that no teams are under 500 in the playoffs because that brought them to 41 and 41. I know that meant a lot to you.
I can't stand that.
So Blake Griffin actually did not play in that game. So thank you to Andre Drummond and the boys for making Chris's night and ending up 500.
Think about it, not more than half the teams in the NBA make the playoffs.
Yes,
there's 30 teams in the NBA. 16 make the playoffs.
Correct.
Like it's not. Everybody acts like it's a big deal. Somebody, well, who was it? Oh, it was Doc Rivers when they officially made it in. They're like, yeah, and they said we made the playoffs. Like, dude, that means you're mediocre. Like, you made the playoffs. Congratulations, you're mediocre.
The Clippers did end up having a much better year than a lot of people thought.
Sure, they did. But all that means is you're mediocre.
And I think the East is but the Clippers ended up 47 and 34. The West was a different story.
Sure,
everybody that made it in there had good seasons. The East,
is the East.
So I believe there are still a couple of games going on that may have something to maybe not actually. I think everybody is actually set now. Denver may still be playing, so that might have actually something to do. So anyway, but right now, at least all the teams in the West are in. So you have Golden State, Denver, Houston, Portland, Utah, Oklahoma City, San Antonio, and the LA Clippers. So you got usually I look at the 4-5 matchup first. That Portland-Utah series I think could be awesome. I think could be so good. Oklahoma City, Houston, I don't think is going to be a good series. Denver, San Antonio, I think is going to be a terrific series, even though I think Denver's going to win that.
Yeah.
And then Golden State, LA, the Clippers. I like that Clippers team, but
this Golden State team. I hope for their sake, because I talk about Golden State and I can't really stand them, but they're having some trouble right now. There's some guys. There's a guy I don't like on there, and there's a guy that I kind of don't like. But other
a guy
than
that you kind of don't like, got his 13th technical tonight, so he should be suspended.
Yeah, baby.
The technicals don't carry over into the playoffs, so he got away with it. He's not going to be suspended.
Well, how did that work with? Did they change that because of what happened with when Cleveland won when LeBron got his one NBA title? There was a game where Draymond Green got a technical and he didn't play the next game, and Cleveland won 2 games in a row. It was because it was in that technical. It was that same deal.
It's either a different rule now, or it was he got a certain amount of technicals in the playoffs. There may be a new.
Maybe it was 5 in the playoffs. Was it 5 in the playoffs or something?
It may be, yeah. So
that could have been it.
Yeah. So anyway, he got away with the maximum.
Number sounds.
Kevin Durant got away with a maximum amount.
Congratulations,
of
way to do it. You know he did it on purpose too.
Probably.
That guy's a tool bag. No, I take that back. I don't know anything about Kevin Durant. I do know that he's a little petty.
Yeah.
You pull up, you start making your own Twitter accounts just so you can come back and get in a fight with yourself and other people or whatever. Look, bro, you got issues way beyond basketball. Just saying.
Okay, so let me ask you really quickly.
Yep.
In the East, first of all, I was thinking for the last couple of weeks when it looked like it was going to be Boston, Indiana, or Indiana, Boston in that 4-5 series, whoever got home court, so whoever got that 4 seed,
Boston.
I thought was going to win the series. Even if Indiana got the 4 seed, I thought they were going to win that series.
Okay.
Because I think Indiana plays together the most together team.
Yeah.
They just play between their defense and their passing and their shooting from the outside. They're just a complete team. They don't have any stars. Of course, Victor Oladipo is out for the season, but the way that they've played after Oladipo's injury, they have impressed me so very much, and I still think they could beat. Boston's deep, and they're still really good. They struggled at times this year, and they were up and down, and they had some weird chemistry and stuff. But this Indiana team doesn't. They have the opposite of that. They seem like they are just all bought into the same thing.
So you're going Indiana in this?
No, I think I'm going Boston.
Oh, so you're sticking with your guns.
I think I'm going just because of the home court, but I will not be surprised. I'm rooting like heck, and I love Boston, but I'm rooting like heck for Indiana in that series.
Sure, I know. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I love Boston. I like the way Boston plays, but I'm okay with whoever wins that. My big thing is I really like the Bucks. I like a team.
Too.
I like the Bucks have just a fun team to watch. Not to mention the best player in basketball right now. It's hard for me to say with LeBron, right. but I mean like just the best athlete right now. LeBron's at 35 is still the best player in the NBA, but this dude is probably the best athlete. And I don't know how to say it.
He's probably the most dominant player right now.
Okay, yeah. So he's the most dominant. We'll say that. But Giannis Antetokounmpo is fun. And if you get a chance to watch the NBA playoffs, watch this guy. He's going to go up against Detroit to start, and that's not going to be too much fun. But after that, in that Boston-Indiana series, that's going to be fun. But I want a team like that to come out. I'm ready for some new blood. It's been so much of the same for so many years now. I'm ready for some new blood. The problem with that is if they come in and face somebody in the West, they're going to get blown out.
I completely disagree.
Really?
I think the Bucks are good enough to beat the Golden State Warriors. I really do.
I hope so. I'd love to see it.
After the entire season, I wouldn't have said
I don't
that
think
in
it's
the
going to
beginning
matter
of the
because
season.
Toronto's taking this thing. Toronto's going to take these. Yep.
And that wouldn't blow me away. That would not surprise me that much. They have kind of flown under the radar.
Big time.
They started out really well, and they got some attention early in the season because, wow, okay, Kawhi's here now.
Kawhi's there, yeah.
It's different. It's a different feel. That was actually a pretty good impression.
Really way better than I thought it was going to come out.
So anyway, but after a while, you didn't really hear about them that much, but they just kept winning.
Yeah.
And they did go through a little stretch where they had some problems, but they are a very solid team. They're deep. They have that bench, and they do have Kawhi. So Toronto's not going to surprise me. Even if Philadelphia could still come out, maybe even Boston, as many problems as they've had this year. Those top 4 teams, none of them will really, really surprise me if they come out of the East. But I think it's Milwaukee. Milwaukee's been so good the entire year. They are such a different team than last year defensively. They've built that roster up so well. They're pretty deep now. They've got guys, because they've had some injuries too. They've got guys from the bench that have been playing a lot of minutes. If those guys, when those guys, Malcolm Brogdon and those guys come back, they're gonna be good. They've just been so good all year. They've got some shooters. Eric Bledsoe's had a great year.
I've liked that kid ever since he was at Kentucky.
Yeah. Brooke Lopez has turned himself into an incredible 3-point shooter and a great defensive player.
Yeah.
I mean, I read this whole article about all the different stuff they do defensively now. And I also looked at a whole bunch of like advanced stats from this article about who should be defensive player of the year. Brooke Lopez could be defensive player of the year.
How
Nobody's
crazy
talking
is
about that.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, but as a team, they've really bought in to Mike Budenholzer's defensive scheme, and just they have been so good. They've dominated the East, and the East is better this year than it's been.
Yeah.
So anyway,
right, do this for me. I'm going to stand up. I'm going to go use this bathroom, but I need you to real quick go through who's going to win, who you have in the finals of the West, finals of the East, and then who's winning the championship.
I gotcha. So in the East, I just talked about the Bucks forever, but I did say that I wouldn't be surprised about Toronto, Philadelphia, Boston. I don't think so. I think Boston, Indiana, that first round series is going to be really fun. I think Brooklyn, Philadelphia could be kind of fun, but Toronto, Orlando, I don't think, with all due respect to Orlando and the way they've played in the second half, I think Toronto pretty easily takes that one, and I think Milwaukee beats Detroit pretty easily as well. But advancing on, skip a couple rounds, and go to the Eastern Conference Finals, I think I see Milwaukee. Either Milwaukee, Toronto, or Milwaukee, Philadelphia, and I'm going to say Milwaukee, Toronto which is easy, the number 1, number 2 seeds, whatever. But Milwaukee, Toronto in the Eastern Conference Finals, and I think Milwaukee does win that series. I think it's a really, really tight series, but I think Milwaukee wins it in 5 or 6. I don't think either team sweeps each other, and I'm not even sure it goes to 7. I just believe that much in Milwaukee. So I think Milwaukee comes out of the East there, Milwaukee, Toronto, and then Milwaukee comes out of there. In the West, it's too hard not to say Golden State. Just Golden State. So Golden State, and it's either Golden State, Denver, or Golden State, Houston. Again, 1, 2, 3 seeds. Big, big going out on a limb there. But it's tough, man. Denver team is so fun. I think it's going to be Golden State, Houston. In the Western Conference Finals, and I think even though Houston basically had them beat last year and then lost Chris Paul and then lost in the 7th and missed 22 or whatever it was straight 3-pointers in that game 7.
30 something.
I think it was like 22 or whatever, but either way, and for like the second or third year in a row, James Harden ran out of gas. I think it's going to be different this year. I think it's going to be a really good series, and I think Houston could beat them. I really do think they can beat them, but I still think Golden State is going to turn it on enough and figure it out enough in the playoffs to go back to the finals for the 5th straight year, I think.
Yep.
So I think it's going to be Golden State, Milwaukee, and I want to say experience has Golden State with the edge just barely. But this Milwaukee team, I'm just so excited about it right now. It
makes it hard not to choose them.
I feel like, and maybe just kind of, I still love this Golden State team. I know everybody doesn't like them, but I still really, really like watching them play. I love Steph Curry.
I love watching them play when they're having fun, which I think you're going to see the second round of the playoffs. You're going to see that team come. You're going to see that team
because everybody's having fun and getting along when they're playing well.
Right.
If they're not, if things go south, if they're having a tough game or whatever, They're gonna get into the refs. They're gonna get into each other. They're gonna be
body language
is gonna
They
be
got to get
horrible.
over this ref stuff. You guys quit blaming it on the refs. I don't like the fact that these refs aren't very good in the NBA. It seems to me like they're not very good. It's a tough job. It's a thankless job. But yeah, they got to get off the ref thing and keep on moving.
Golden State and Houston are the worst teams with that stuff.
They are. So who's winning it all?
I'm kind of rooting for the Bucks. I'm going to go with Golden State though if I got to predict.
So you got to predict it's going Golden State. All right. So here's what I got. I got so in the East, I love 1, 2, and 3 in the East. I'm with you, and I love 1, 2, and 3 in the West too. But 1, 2, the Milwaukee, Toronto, Philadelphia. This is tough for me. I told you I love Milwaukee. I just got done saying how much fun they are. I see that East. I don't think they're there yet, though. I don't think they have the experience enough to get to that next level to win this thing. I've got Philly and Toronto. I think Philly has had a couple years of slowly developing this thing and getting where they need to be. I got Philly and Toronto in the Eastern Conference Finals. Toronto wins that. And then I got in the West, I think Oklahoma City. This is tough. I think Oklahoma City at some point in time has got to turn this around, right? They've been struggling here lately, and there's a lot that goes on. But Paul George on this team has found the way where he fits in, and Russ is Russ. And if there's a team that can come in and surprise people in the bottom half of the West, it's Golden State or it's Oklahoma City. Screw it, I'm doing it. Harden's going down the first round of the playoffs. Wow. Oklahoma City. I got Oklahoma City and Golden State. I got KD v. versus Russ. And to be honest, I'm taking Golden State because I think they are a phenomenal basketball team. It's hard not to take them, but I'm gonna take Golden State to win it all, even though I don't want to. But I don't know how you can't. Look at that team. How do you not take them to win? It's Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, the two best shooters in the entire NBA together. KD, top 5 shooter in all of the NBA. Top 3 player in the entire NBA.
He might be the third best shooter. They might have the top 3 shooters.
They might have the top. You're right. So, and then you on top of that, you bring on the annoyance of a guy like Draymond Green, which I'm going to be completely honest with you. That dude's on my team. I love him. He's not. I can't stand him.
Great defensive player.
Great defensive player. You got DeMarcus Cousins is on this team, dude. Boogie is a perennial all-star when he's playing basketball, and he's on this team at the veteran league minimum. This is ridiculous, and it's not fair. That's not fair. So how do you not take Golden State? There's too many weapons. It's too much. It's Golden. I'm Golden State.
Okay, we agree then. We both pick Golden State.
You don't like the Oklahoma City.
We both kind of want to be wrong about it, but we both take them. Because we're going with our head, not our heart. And the very last thing I have for today.
What do you got, buddy?
Part of the punishment for losing the bet.
What else am I supposed to be doing?
Was that you wear the Vinny Johnson T-shirt on the podcast, which you look terrific in, and you did a great job of tonight. Okay. And you are also supposed to apologize to Vinny Johnson for.
Okay. So.
Hold on. He's watching in the camera right there. So
Vinny Microwave Johnson. Actually, I turned the light on, but I forgot to do it before.
So did I.
Vinny the Microwave Johnson. If I can call you Mr. Microwave, I will. If you don't mind, I'll do that. Or Mr. Wave is probably the way to go about it. So
it's Mr. Microwave to you.
Mr. Wave, if it's okay. Mr. Microwave, I do apologize for saying you didn't belong in the NBA.
He's right in there.
In the NBA. In the NBA nicknames, best NBA nicknames of all time contest, I would have taken Clyde Drexler, Clyde the Glide over you. But I do apologize because it was the wrong thing to do, and the Microwave is a phenomenal nickname, and I wish you all the best. And I didn't know how cut you were back in the 80s. You look good, buddy. So I apologize, and thank you. That's all I got.
You're so classy in defeat. That was perfect. Thank you very much for playing along with that. You look so good in that shirt. I hope you wear it every time I see you from now on.
Will do. And we will be back next week As always, 10:30 Facebook Live will be on all the podcasts websites you can possibly find. We're there. Adam, you can catch him on the tweet box at
Adam Schmidt 44.
I'm at Sick With It. I actually tweet every once in a while now, so
doing
it's
well.
kind of fun. Yeah, I'm kind of figuring this whole thing out. So follow us on all those. Follow us on Facebook. Share whatever we put up there. We appreciate it. Leave some comments. Like, subscribe wherever you listen. More subscribers, the better, and we appreciate everybody that does all that. So don't forget to turn your headlights on.